Your Excellency, I want you to forgive me at this moment in time if I simply say all protocols observed. And therefore, I want to welcome each and every one of you here this morning. Your presence here indicates to us at UTT that you have come with us here to walk hand in hand as we continue the journey. Welcome. After those remarks by our minister and our chairman of our board, I wonder if there's anything left for me to say. But protocol demands that I say something. Approximately 11 years ago, another significant vision was conjured up in the fertile brain of one of the founding fathers of the Point Lisas industrial estate. And after 9 months of intense, agonizing, but enjoyable labor pains, punctuated by flashes of visionary insights, of foresighting and backcasting, and of course, a lot of doubting Thomases, no pun intended, Chancellor. That vision became a reality in November of 2004 with the establishment of the National University of Trinidad and Tobago, UTT. And of course, as you heard before, this first campus was established right here on the hallowed grounds that you now stand and on which the then Trinidad and Tobago Institute of Technology once stood and of course became incorporated into UTT. But I'd like to point out, just as the vision of UTT was conjured up in the brains of the founding father of Point Lisas, and that TTIT was also conjured up in the fertile brains of another set of visionary leaders. And I would like to tell you that one of those visionary leaders for TTIT, which became an integral part of UTT, was our very own minister. Let him give him a round of applause for that. So what we are witnessing today, brothers and sisters, is that UTT is an amalgam of the fertile visions of diverse and great thinkers of our land. And that is why I firmly believe that UTT was built on solid foundation to stay the course and to be an integral part of the educational landscape of Trinidad and Tobago. And after 10 years of growing pains, I would say 9 years and a couple of months really, of weeding, molding, and fertilizing, the 10-year-old ship that is UTT has now been stabilized and is destined to play a catalytic role in the socio-economic transformation of our society. And as I said about 7 months ago when I was installed as president of UTT, and I quote myself here, so no one should charge me of plagiarism, UTT is an idea whose time has now come. You have heard a lot about what we at UTT have accomplished from our previous speakers, and also well illustrated in that skit over the last couple of years. We have been accredited by the Accreditation Council of Trinidad and Tobago. Most of our engineering programs have been accredited, and we are seeking further accreditation for ICT programs. You have heard of the dominance of our fashion and animation programs in the Caribbean, our maritime programs, the Academy of the Performing Arts, over 7,000 industry-ready graduates, many who have gone on to create their own businesses, etc. You have heard it all. But all of this could not have been achieved without the assistance of a very important person. And I want to refer to our own Minister of Tertiary Education and Skills Training. I want to tell you his brain does not stop clicking, coming up with idea after idea, and of course, coupled with financial assistance through his ministry And let me tell you, if you do not run with these ideas, you better look out. But in my closing remarks, I don't want to focus on the past. The future, however uncertain it is, however unpredictable, it must be, Chancellor, our business here at UTT, preparing the next generation of entrepreneurs, not traders, commercializing research and develop and spawn companies, as our mission states, a new generation of social entrepreneurs, not, and I quote here, tender entrepreneurs, as someone said 2 days ago on our newspapers. I think it's a very creative word. And this future which we envisage must not be a linear extrapolation of the past. I want to repeat that. If we are going to chart the future, it must not be a linear extrapolation of the past. And what is this future that UTT is envisaging and redefining? I'm not talking about 10, 20, 30 years from now. The future is right now. A generation, as we said, is now 2 to 3 years. We at UTT are convinced that there's no future that we cannot imagine. However, there can be no meaningful future for our citizens without a sound and relevant educational system, one that fosters creativity and innovation from the crib to the rocking chair along the entire educational value chain. Because today, brothers and sisters, we are living in a knowledge society, a knowledge economy. And the countries of the future are those which take knowledge. It's not a lack of knowledge, but how do we use the knowledge to create wealth through creativity and innovation for all our people? And that, in a nutshell, is what is our mission from now onwards. To show evidence of this, and I said the future is right now, and we are going to deliver this in 2014, the opening up the Aviation Institute, which our chairman referred to, at Camden. But what's the vision for this? Is it just another institute? Certainly not. This is coupled with the fact that Trinidad and Tobago is destined to be the gateway in terms of air transportation, a transportation hub between Africa and the Far East and the Americas. This was envisaged way back in the 60s, as you will recall, by our then Prime Minister, Eric Williams, and was reiterated by our current Prime Minister when she visited South Africa recently. And what is happening? UTT this year is going to make it happen. So after almost 40 years, it has taken UTT to make it happen. And therefore, we are going to provide the appropriate human resource for it to be sustainable. The next thing which is going to happen this year, and that's where the future is right now, is the setting up of the Institute of Finance, but an institute with a difference, not offering the traditional degrees in finance, in banking, etc., but to provide the human resource for what is called the BPOs, the back processing operations, which are critical if Trinidad and Tobago is to achieve its vision of being the financial capital of the Caribbean. Again, something which was only talk for several years now, and this is now going to be the reality. And UTT is going to be providing the catalyst for it to happen. And we go on again. To be established this year, and you've heard of it, is the Institute of Printing and Packaging. Of course, in all of these activities, we will be partnering with all our stakeholders, because we at UTT firmly believe that if we are going to make a difference, we have to partner with the public sector, the private sector, tertiary level institutions, all the NGOs and the CBOs, etc. So you see, colleagues, UTT will be focusing on producing graduates with the necessary skill sets to go out and create jobs, not to seek jobs. The statistics, current statistics are frightening. About 60% of graduates, Minister, from our tertiary level system are directly employed by the public sector. Only about 30% directly employed by the private sector. A few migrate. And what is startling, less than 0.1% go out and create businesses within the first 2 years of graduation. And that is where UTT has a critical mission to play. And that is our business at UTT. We have accepted it, and we have to reverse that. Also carded for this year, I don't know how we are going to accomplish, but we will, is the launch of Learn TT, which is a brainchild of our minister. And this, colleagues, I think will be revolutionary. I want you to stay attuned to this because we are going to bring education to the masses from birth right on to the cradle, using the medium of the internet, television, radio, etc. And one of the first things we are going to do, partnering, it's very important that we partner with the Khan Academy and Coursera, is to address the challenge that we have of mathematics at all levels of our educational ladder. The percentage pass at the CXC exams, the CSEC exam to be specific, is less than 50%. And the societies which are moving ahead in this technological age are those which put mathematics and physics, what you call the STEM programs, at the fore. And we are going to address this in a meaningful way through launch to Learn TT. Another activity carded for this year, very important, it's the setting up of the UTT Petrotrin Workers' School, the first of its kind here by an institution. And I hope that we have some of our representatives here from the Oilfield Workers Trade Union. I think they are now the union which is representing workers at UTT, and they would be happy to know that. And what we'll be doing is upgrading the skills of the workers in their own work environment. This is just the first of many that we plan to open. And this is what education is now about, meaningful education. It is now shown that the learning process is enhanced when there are multiple learning environments incorporated in the learning architecture. So what our vision now will be to merge the environment with the classroom. There's no other way. So we are going to set up other such worker schools. And then, of course, reference was made to the Tamana Signature Building, earmarked for completion in February 2015. And this, as the chairman said, will be a knowledge-driven innovation ecosystem. And as it said in our 2020 vision program, innovation is the foundation of a developed society. Of course, in all of this hype, I want to assure the public that quality assurance will remain the bedrock of our operations. We cannot desist from that. There will be no compromising of the integrity of our programs. Colleagues, investing in entrepreneurship education, which is a mission of UTT, is one of the highest return investments a country can make, and our minister referred to the ROI. Surveys suggest that between 15 and 20% of students who participate in mini-company programs at the secondary school level later start their own company, a figure that is about 3 to 5 times that for the general population. We at UTT will be failing in our endeavors if we try to do it all alone. We firmly subscribe to the triple helix approach, as I referred to before. As such, we are strongly interested in partnering in a very synergistic way in bridging the gap in attaining and developing the full human potential of our creative minds. In closing, I want to publicly thank all our employees, past and present, for the sacrifice that you have made over the years, all for the sake of the young people of our nation. I look forward to your continued cooperation in spite of the challenges that we face, challenges related to salaries, working conditions, your physical environments, resources, etc. I can assure you that we will be addressing these one by one in spite of our constraints. And as we look forward to the next decade, redefining the Trinidad and Tobago educational landscape, let us work together. For all our efforts here at UTT, including yours, will come to naught if we do not work together. Let us all work together with one common vision, with mutual respect for each other. UTT, as I said before, cannot bring about that entrepreneurial society. We need the collective input of all the stakeholders, and I see so many of you here. Let us not be imprisoned by our environment, thoughts, or failures. Let not our views, our actions reek too much of castor oil. Otherwise, we'll all have to swallow a very large spoonful. As we move to puberty over the next 10 years, let us, TNT, work together to create a UTT ecosystem as a place for our young people, our sons and daughters, to dream a new future for Trinidad and Tobago and to convert that dream into reality. The journey now starts.